Wow, what an amazing day today. So I thought I'd just do a quick tour around the kitchen garden, but I'll just explain a little bit about how this fits with respect to the allotment. So in summer, the kitchen garden is basically where we're harvesting most of the stuff. This is where all the salads are, the spinaches, the brassicas, lots of the summer carrots and things like that. And the allotment is mainly focused on things that we need to grow under cover, so peppers and tomatoes, things like that, and all of the things that we're kind of growing for storage. So the main storage crop of beetroot, the storage crop of onions, all of the winter brassicas, so things like the colettes and the Brussels sprouts and things like that that are growing for harvest, well, now really. So that's kind of the way it is in summer. So in autumn, towards the end of summer, we do a big transition, and pretty much everything in the back garden now, the kitchen garden, is focused on spring. So everything kind of for harvest in spring. There's a few exceptions, just a few things that we'll be harvesting in late, sort of mid to late winter, and clearing by spring so that we can get all the spring plantings in, so the early lettuces, the spinaches and things like that. The allotment at the moment is focused on things that we're harvesting primarily over winter and early spring. So that's where all the salads and the spinaches and the winter carrots and things like that are. So that's kind of the way that we work it. So with that preamble, let's take a quick look. So since last month, I've actually been pretty busy in the kitchen garden. I've been clearing all the patios, treating them for algae and all of that. And I find that it's a good time to do it now because the algae doesn't kind of take hold then over winter, and then I might do another quick clean up in spring. Depends on how rainy it is over winter. And as I said, you can see here everything is pretty much planted, but we're not really harvesting very much from here at the moment. But we're harvesting loads of stuff from the allotment. I'll actually just show you just a couple of images of a typical weekly harvest from the allotment while I'm walking down here. And we'll start with these, which are lamb's lettuce, and those were sown in August. They're looking pretty good now. There were a few of them that had a little bit of mildew on the leaves, but that's all cleared up. Didn't have to take any leaves off, they just sorted themselves out. And so those are going to be harvested in February, and it's a great time for lamb's lettuce because it tastes amazing when it's getting plenty of frosts on it. It's really sweet and succulent, and it's a time, of course, when other salads aren't really growing very much. So here we've got spring cabbages with a few spring onions planted in the middle of them. All those spring onions will be gone fairly soon. And that's good because obviously the spring cabbages will be filling out and taking up all the space. Bit of chard there. There are actually some interplanted beetroot as well that kind of need harvesting before the end of the year. But I'm pleased I actually planted those because you can see them here looking quite nice. I've got some collards here, pretty much look exactly the same as they did a month ago when I did the last tour. But I have cleared this bed, I think, since the last tour, and that is now all planted with garlic, and it is just starting to break surface. And it's always, I find, a bit nerve-wracking, wondering whether we'll get full germination. But garlic really disappoints. No matter what the conditions are, it almost always grows, especially in a raised bed that's well drained like this one. And here we've got a real favourite, which is Claytonia or winter miner's lettuce. And there are a few damaged leaves on here, but generally speaking these are in great condition. We've started harvesting them now, so I harvested that one 2 weeks ago, that one this weekend, and I'm gradually working my way through. By the time we get to the end, all of this will have regrown again. It's an amazingly tasty lettuce alternative or complement. We use it in the salad mixes. The stems are particularly nice, so don't just pick the leaves, pick the stems as well. And yeah, it's pretty good. It will drop seed, so you will get it self-germinating in the same bed if you let it flower like I have done there. So again, all this patio, all's been cleaned and treated for algae. I'm just using patio clear. Works well for me because I've got these drainage channels down the sides here. So the patio clear, which would not be good for the lawn, just drains into here, and the lawn is fine. So I've pruned all of my blueberries and gooseberries, and I've just got these few containers to move back there. Well, that's looking okay. Strawberries still struggling on. These were just first year runners, so they're not very big, but they will pick up, no problem at all. Need a bit of weed in there. Field beans in these beds, doing great. These have all been harvested twice, and they're just regrown. I'm letting them grow on now until probably February time. Again, that'll be a time when we're quite low on spinach, so it'll be nice to have these as a supplement. And then we'll take them out in sort of March, April time, when we'll be filling this really with cauliflowers and cabbages for autumn and winter. So it's looking okay. Got the raspberries on the back wall there, all tied in now. I did lose a few blueberry plants, so I have got some new little cuttings in here to replace them, so I'm all back to full occupancy. I'm really pleased with these gooseberries. So these were cuttings 2 years ago, and I planted them out last year, I can't remember when it was, probably April or something like that, and they've grown really nicely, so I'm expecting a fairly good harvest off them this year, so next year. So they're looking good. The blueberries were great as well this year, so pleased with them. The ochre on the allotment is mostly dying back now because we've had quite a few frosts there, but we're a mile closer to the sea here, and so this ochre hasn't really been touched by a frost yet. But once it is, I'll start harvesting those tubers, and these are the ones that I'm giving away, or some of them anyway. So what else have we got? Not much down here. We've got some more of that lamb's lettuce, and that is looking in even better condition because this gets a little bit more sun here than the others that I showed you. And we've got a little bit of potato or something growing there. And then we've got colettes here, and they are in a very shady spot. So right now it's 12:33, and now they're just starting to get the sun. So that is a pretty short day for them, because sunset at the moment is about 4 o'clock. So and they actually don't get sun for that long. So they're probably only going to get 2 to 3 hours of sun a day, which is not a lot. But they will still give us a harvest. It's just they'll give us a late harvest, and actually that works out quite well for us because it gives us a nice succession. The ones in the front garden we're harvesting now, they get so much more sun. The ones on the allotments we'll be harvesting in probably mid-December through to March, and then these kind of late March, maybe early April, something like that. And then we've got some little baby sprouts there and kales. And we're not harvesting these kales at the moment, we're just taking the dead leaves off, and that is because we just want these plants to be as strong as possible in spring, and they will all come back to life by then and grow quite strongly and gives a nice harvest. Where the ones that we're harvesting right now in the front garden and the allotment, they will have finished by then. So it works quite well just having these, and they look quite nice as well, I think. And then we've got garlic there in all that bed, and it's interesting actually to see that the first 2 rows there have all come up, if you can see those. Whereas the others planted on the same day, there's no sign of them. They are different varieties though. And those are actually named varieties, so we actually bought some new garlic so we actually know which varieties we're growing, because all of our existing garlic is unknown varieties that we've just accumulated over time. They've all got jumbled up, and we thought it would be nice to start afresh with some named varieties so we could actually see which ones did best. And then we've got the parsnips. Again, they're doing pretty well, and that is the last little bed of parsnips now that we've got, so that's probably only enough to last us until early January perhaps. And all the way around here we've got garlic again, but all of this is to be harvested green. There's about 10 cloves in each tub, and I don't know how many tubs we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tubs here. Quite a lot of green garlic scattered around on the allotment as well, but that is enough for April and May, and that's when we really need the green garlic. I've got some baby leeks here. Originally when I planted these, I was hoping that I would get something that could be used effectively like a spring onion, salad onion, but actually I've tried them and I don't really like them. I don't think they're anywhere near as nice as a salad onion, so we'll just be using these chopped up in stir fries or other cooking. And I don't think I'll do late leeks again. These were really late. I can't remember exactly when I sowed them, but it was like July or something like that. It was way too late anyway. So that's the kitchen garden. The side of the house looks quite a lot like a storage yard at the moment. We've got some herbs here, and we've got trees in all of these galvanised buckets, and I'm starting to gradually replace them. So these are all cherry trees, but we've got quite a lot of cherry trees now in the ground. I think about 5, all different varieties. So we don't need these down here so much, although it is still convenient for snacking. So I've left in 3, I think. I've taken 2 out. One was a sour cherry actually, which we bought by mistake. So in here we've now got plums, apples, pears, we have got 3 cherry trees, so quite a nice selection of trees here. Again, mainly these are for snacking. We've got all those sorts of trees on the allotment as well, but it is nice just to be able to come out here when you fancy something fresh and pick it straight off the tree. These are my perennial kale cuttings. We've got lots of perennial kale on the allotment, but we don't have any in the garden right now, so I've got some here ready to plant out in March, and they're up here just because it's away from the slugs. And down here, these are our potatoes, main crop potatoes, and we've also got some salad potatoes, and I've got about 8 salad potato tubs on the allotment as well, and those are the ones we'll eat in April. These are the ones we'll eat between now and April, basically 1 tub a week. And for now we're leaving them in the compost. They all seem to be in great condition. It does make it easier to figure out how many we can eat a week and not run out, but I'm not 100% confident that this is the best place to store them for the whole year, but it's been great so far. So although I said the back garden is what we're where we're storing things up for spring, the front garden is where we're currently most actively harvesting at home. Obviously we're harvesting from the allotment, so we're harvesting these spring onions. We've picked all of those so far. Those are the kales, a lot of them that we're eating right now, some on the allotment. A little bit of chard here, a few spring cabbages, a few baby cabbages growing from the stems. These are the colettes that we're currently harvesting, and they're looking really nice. And we are taking collect leaves and harvesting these as well, although the ones on the allotment are slightly nicer quality. And so that is pretty much it. Yeah, we've got these pretty little kales as well here. They're an ornamental kale, but you can eat them. But for now, we've got plenty of kale, so they just look nice. So we're just leaving them for decoration. And they've got a few kales by the door there. So that is pretty much it. We've got this little bed here of tough ball overwintered onions. So our objective is to get this all cleared, probably by the end of the year, or maybe early sort of January sort of time. Get all these paths redone with wood chips, mulch all these beds, and get this all ready for spring plantings. The store cupboard is still in pretty good shape, and we've got loads of passatas, chutneys, jams, pickles, all that sort of thing in there. Storeroom is looking pretty good. We've got a lot of onions up here, which are keeping fairly well, although we have lost a couple of them. Got some more onions down here, looking pretty good. More onions down here, shallots here, more onions here, so plenty of onions. We harvest the potatoes every 3 weeks and we store them under here like this, so that the maximum we've got is 3 weeks supply out of the ground in boxes. And we've got the beetroot here. These are golden beetroots, these are red beetroots, more red beetroots here, and more red beetroots in that sack. Dried fruit in here, and garlic down there. So again, pretty good stock. I don't think we're going to go short. And when it comes to things like onions, our objective is to have new fresh onions in April, so you know they don't have to last a huge amount of time in store. And in the conservatory we've got all of our winter squash, and seems to be liking it in here, so it's all still nice and hollow sounding. And I've just started sowing my very early spring crops, so we've got plenty more sowing to go obviously as we go into spring. I've actually got some garlics and things like that in containers as well, that'll get transplanted out for an early crop in the polytunnel. And yeah, some more salad crops and things like that, and then a few salads that I've just started now in containers that we'll be harvesting in January and February, and I'll have 3 more containers like this under grow lights. As you can see, I've got my grow lights here. I've got some more grow lights around that I can use at that time of year. So that is pretty much it. So, hope you like this quick video. My name's Steve, this is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment Channel, and I'll see you soon.